Hi guys, it's so great to be back. Welcome back to the channel. We are now Talk with Amanda Machaga, by the way, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when there's new episodes that have been loaded. I'm so excited. Today we have this phenomenal lady, Lesleedalton Neshehe. She is a life coach and the wife of the late actor Motodi Neshehe. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us, Leslee. It's such an honor to have you with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Now, a young lady from North Carolina decides to pack her bags because she's found the love of her life. And off you go, and you come to Africa.
I packed 2 bags. Can you believe it? 2 bags of
The
stuff.
things we do for love.
Whew, guys. Guys. Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, it's crazy.
What were some of the culture shocks that you experienced?
Yeah, there was honestly a lot because, well, first of all, I grew up on a farm, okay? So I come to Joburg. I had one robot in my hometown that was only on when school was going in and out. Right. And then I come to Johannesburg. So big city shock, okay? Then there's culture shock because I went into the African culture, Venda. Motodi was Venda, his family's Venda. Motodi was very Americanized. So at that time, we sort of looked at things sort of the same. But we moved in with his parents, and they're very sweet people, but it was interesting.
So was marriage on the cards when you came this side?
Yes. When he asked me to move here, that was also the marriage proposal. Because we knew that if I moved here, I couldn't stay here unless we were married. And we had dated for a while, and so he wanted us to get married.
And your family back home, were they okay with your drastic move?
Bless their souls. It hasn't always been easy being my family, I think. I think they thought maybe I was going to come here and then come back. Or maybe they thought that it was more of a God thing, because usually people in America, if they move to Africa or South Africa, it's for mission work, which maybe that was the behind the scenes. Yeah. Even now I'm like, okay, God, maybe you were up to something. No, they were very shocked. And I come from the South where it's very conservative, and obviously it was interracial, so that was also an issue. And my oldest brother never met Motodi in person, and he didn't speak to me for a while. So it was a little bit rough. I did not meet Motodi the celebrity. I met a Motodi that was struggling in a foreign country. He was still handsome, of course. Yes. And he still had that dynamic personality, but he was struggling as a foreigner.
Did you know what his aspirations were, though? What was he doing there? Was he trying to, get into the entertainment industry? Did you know what his plan was?
You know what? He went there to be educated, okay? His family actually they were very involved in the struggle, let me put it that way. And they started receiving threats with apartheid and everything. And then the kids started receiving threats, so they put their kids on a plane and sent them to North Carolina to be educated. And so I met Motodi after he had finished with university. And he actually studied business and computer science, okay? Yeah, Motodi was an interesting mix.
So you had no idea that his aspirations was to be in the entertainment industry?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I did. Look, I knew that when he was here, when he was younger, that he was in an advert and his mom was in the industry to a certain extent, but I definitely did not know that when I moved here, that this was the life that we were going to live. Yeah. I mean, there were times in the States when Motodi literally was struggling with food. And if we would have an argument, I would go to his favorite restaurant to go get the food, and that was our way of making, getting back together, And so he struggled. So I didn't meet the Motodi that was on the red carpet.
Right. So were you able to adjust to that life?
Yeah, you know what? It was like nice. I was like, wow, this is cool. I never thought that I would be going to all these red carpet events and people getting so excited to really see him, but maybe me sometimes. So it was nice, but it felt a little bit like a dream.
Right.
It was surreal, sort of, yeah.
And what about your dreams? Did you find it easy for you to pursue your dreams, or you found yourself living in his shadow?
Yeah, as I take a deep breath, yeah. You know what? I think when I decided that I would move here, I knew in my mind that I might be taking a back seat because I knew he struggled as a foreigner. I figured that I would struggle. I didn't think I would struggle as much as I have, I'll be honest. But I figured, okay, I will be his wife. We can have kids. I can have a career. It might not be on the level that I would have here. Yeah, I was okay to be with him and support him. As you say, love, the things love makes you do. Yeah. It's like, oh, as long as I'm with you, it's okay, kind of thing.
As long as we're together.
Yeah, but I did think that South Africa would I thought they would be happy to have my skills and my knowledge. Yeah. And I thought, I'm going to go there and I'm going to make a difference. Because when I was in grade 8, God told me that I would be linked to Africa. Okay? I was studying world history. God spoke to me. And I've always wanted to come to Africa to make a difference. And I have a master's degree in counseling psychology, but was never able to get registered. Yeah, that's another story. Red tape, supposedly. I didn't have an ID number. It took me 9 years to get an ID number. Foreign Workplace Management Forum, affidavits, this, and this. I also didn't know how to do it the South African way. I don't know if I should say that out loud, but yeah.
We'll get into that.
Okay.
We might be laughing now, but it's really not a laughing matter.
No.
But yeah. So now you are educated, you have your dreams and aspirations. Of course, you park them because you are with the man that you love, and you now have, a family, you start having kids.
Yes.
Right. And let's talk about some of the challenges that you've encountered, because I believe you've told your story, but I wanted us to just get a little bit of a background and then connect it nicely.
Okay.
So we know that you got married, you had kids, and your husband encountered a number of challenges in the industry. Of course, in the beginning it was nice. There were roles. We know him as
in the Lomo, yeah. Mabongo. Yes, I love it.
Actually, I think I'm saying it the closer way.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a different way of saying it. But anyway, he was successful in the industry. He was in other productions as well.
Yes,
and he ended up having his own production company.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But the reason why I actually even wanted to talk to you is because I know the heart that you have when it comes to the struggles that people in the industry are facing.
Yes.
And your husband was not an exception.
No, he wasn't.
There's been tragic things happening, and we can't afford to not talk about the issues that are troubling our entertainers.
Yes.
Would you share about some of the issues and the challenges that your husband faced?
Okay. Yes, I tend to shock people because I do talk about it a bit. I don't know if it's the white American in me or what, but I believe that if we don't talk about these things, then it's never going to be resolved.
Exactly.
We can see that our celebrities, musicians, actors, actresses, they're struggling, okay? It's in our faces. And if we don't see that, then we've got a problem. And I look back on Motodi's career, and it actually really makes me sad in a way, because he was doing so well. But there came a time, as you mentioned, he was with Muvongo, right? And then he started his own production company. And he was doing a lot of productions for, let me just say, certain channels of a certain entity. And he was doing well, and he enjoyed the work, and it was going well. And then there came a time when he was being asked to pay other companies because registered for payment and this and that. Again, it was the whole supposed red tape thing. But he didn't understand. He came to me, he was like, Leslie, I don't know why I'm being asked to pay other companies. And he says, I'm a little nervous to say anything, but at the same time, this seems a little dodgy. Yeah. And so he went to the person that was the head of the channel at that time, and he spoke to him, and he actually told him, I'm not willing to do this anymore because I don't understand. And he actually recorded the conversation. And then after that, they gave him no more work.
Because he was exposing something that was done that was wrong.
Yeah. And you know what? He didn't understand what was happening. And I think they could figure out that he was starting to figure out. Yeah. And then it seems as though what I'm picking up is if you're not willing to play the game, if you're not willing to be corrupt with them, then you're cut off. And I'm afraid that there's very much a culture of that. I know in South Africa, probably in other countries also, but I think it's very deep here.
Right. And I mean, I run a media company, and part of what we do is PR, and I had to stop that because of corruption. We were asked to pay bribes so that the clients that we were trying to put on the media space can get those opportunities, and I don't do business that way.
Yeah.
And so also, I mean, we're involved in production with a friend of mine, and I mean, we've been to pitching sessions where
that's what's required.
That's what's required.
Even though it's not in black and white.
If you don't do it, then we're not even going to consider your work.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the effects of this.
Okay.
Because now Motodi obviously ended up losing on a lot of job opportunities.
Yeah.
How did that affect him?
No, it affected him badly. And I think it even eventually affected our marriage, my family, everything. It was a very ugly ripple effect.
Right.
And that's why I think we really need to speak about this, because it actually really makes me upset. Because I watched Motodi go into a depression. I watched Motodi turn into someone that I didn't recognize. I saw him starting to do things that were a little bit like, what? Who is this?
Who is this person?
Yeah. It's like it changed his personality, and I didn't know who was in front of me anymore. And it was very, very sad. It was like, as dramatic as this sounds, Motodi passed July 1st last year physically. But I felt like I lost him years before that. It was like,
that's how he was into this depression.
No, it was sad. It's awful. Because he started feeling like he couldn't provide for his family, which I think as a man, for anyone it's scary, but especially for a man, it's very scary. And it can cause a lot of issues.
And I believe there are people in the industry that are experiencing that today.
Yes.
And are afraid to speak.
Yeah, they are.
And they're expected to be perfect and put together.
Yes. Yeah, no, what I gathered is you need to play the game. So you better show up. You need to do the things that everybody else is doing. Corruption, drinking, partying, drugs. I'm not saying everybody does it, but there's a culture there. And if you're not willing to play all those games, it can affect you. And God forbid if you speak, much less if you even act like what they're doing is a bit wrong, you can be finished. So.
What do you mean you can be finished?
Well, your career, they can just push you to the side.
Right.
Then, God forbid, I mean, if you speak, I mean, I'll be honest, since Motodi passed, I've received threats. I mean, I've got it in black and white. I received a threat.
They want to silence you.
Yeah, they told me I must be quiet. I must be quiet. And if I'm not quiet, they're watching me, they're watching my children, and they're watching my children's friends. So I'm like, oh my word. And they even sent someone to my house to try to set me up. I have the recording of them following me at the petrol station, hoping that I'm going to do something wrong or naughty, trying to bribe me for money. And I'm like, I'm not even an
What do you think is
actress.
at stake for them?
Okay. You know what? I've actually tried to ask myself, what is this about?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I live my life, you live your life, okay? Whatever. The only thing that I can figure out, and I might be completely wrong, is that spiritually we're on two different sides altogether.
Right.
I mean, I'm not perfect, guys, I'm not, but I love God, and I'm a woman of God. And when I went through the separation with Motodi, I faced a lot of issues and challenges. And the reason that I'm alive today is because of God, and only because of God. Yeah. All right? I think there were many people that thought it was going to be me that passed. But I just stayed with God completely. So I think it's a spiritual war.
Right. And in the wake of the passing of Rick,
Yeah.
by suicide,
Yeah.
I saw a post that AKA put out on his social media pages, where he was calling on celebrities to, go back to church.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, as you are saying, that there's a spiritual warfare going on here. And people might be awake, otherwise there wouldn't be that call that, look, let's go back to family values.
Yes.
Let's go back to God. Let's go back to church, because we are being swallowed in.
No, it's true. It's
Right.
true. Look, one thing in the industry, look, it's everywhere in the world, but I think it's really deep in the industry. The vices, I'm going to call it the vices of the enemy, okay? Drugs, alcohol, women everywhere, or men everywhere, sexual perversion. It's like a culture. It's so accessible, all right? And it's very easy, I think, to get pulled into that especially when you're in the industry.
Right.
And then let's say, for instance, I was recorded, okay, I'm not even a celebrity. Let's say, for instance, they get messed up, they end up doing something that they shouldn't do. They get them on camera. They're a celebrity, and they're being bribed, saying, if you don't do what we tell you to do, we can go to the media, we can ruin your career. Now, maybe I'm paranoid or something, but if they're going to do that to me, what makes us think they're not doing that to our celebrities?
And could this be one of the causes that, celebrities have this depression that they're battling?
Yes.
But obviously they're being silenced again. They can't say much.
Yes.
And now you suffer alone in silence.
Look, I wish so bad that I could have a conversation with Motodi now, because I know that there were things going on that he could not tell me. And I even sometimes think he had to get away from me for my own safety and for the safety of the children. I might be wrong again, but I don't think so. I know there were things that he would try to tell me, and he would always tell me, listen, I'll tell you something once, and that's it. And then sometimes he would just tell me something out of the blue, and people would be around, and I couldn't even ask questions. So there were things going on. I think he was receiving certain types of threats of, you better act like this, you better do this, maybe even you better not be with your wife. She's with God, she sees what's going on, she's talkative, that kind of thing. So imagine being threatened, imagine maybe getting caught in something that you've done wrong, and you already feel bad about it, and then you're being bribed, that saying that we'll go to the wife, we'll go to your family, we'll go to the media. It's deep, it's scary.
And also what I've realized is that there isn't a lot of help accessible to the entertainers.
No.
And what would you say to that? How can they access help if they would like to speak to somebody?
Yeah. Well, first of all, as you know, I'm a life coach. I'm educated as a counseling psychologist, but I practice as a life coach. First of all, I want to say I'm here. I'm here.
Available.
Yeah, I'm available. And the thing is I know the industry because I was beside Motodi. I got caught up in the drama and the stuff, so I'm familiar with it. I want to speak to Department of Arts and Culture.
Right.
I want to appeal to them because, again, this is happening to our celebrities. We need to do something. We need to address that there's corruption, major corruption going on, in my opinion, in the systems. And that needs to, honestly, it needs to stop. And if we keep on being quiet about it, it's not going to stop.
Mm-hmm. And a number of celebrities have also called out, the department, saying, why is something not being done?
Yes.
We're suffering. And I think it was Julius Malema, if I'm not mistaken, that did say that, again, the late Rick was trying to say something and we were not listening.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So it's about time that the powers that be start listening.
Yes, yes.
So that people do not suffer in silence.
Anymore.
That we don't have to lose celebrities the way that we've been losing them.
And it's heartbreaking. We have such beautiful, talented people, and they're taking their own lives. Some of them were losing them sort of mysteriously, like they're going quick. Cooley Roberts, I'm not sure if they ever figured out what happened with her. She was waiting for a radio interview and then she passes. Could it be stress also that she was dealing with, mental health issues? And I think also celebrities need to understand that it's okay to ask for help.
Yes.
Because you know what, they've got this image that they have to uphold. So they've got to act like they're okay all the time.
When everything's okay. And I came across a post that says that we're a miserable nation with happy images, happy pictures. We want to portray this image. I don't know to who, because why should I be acting like I'm okay to you?
Yeah.
If you could help me, maybe when I say that something is wrong.
Yes, yes. I used to always say Motodi was even a better actor off screen than on screen, okay? He could act on screen, but then sometimes I could watch him and I knew he was acting off screen.
That's what we're seeing.
Our actors don't know how to take the mask off.
Yeah, and be human.
Yes, and it's okay to be human, guys. It is okay. Motodi used to always tell me that I should be a therapist to the celebrities. I never understood what he was saying to me. But now I look back on some of these things and I'm like, you know what? He was also trying to tell me something. Yeah. And look, there's even deeper stuff going on in the industry that's it's very taboo to talk about. So I don't know if we need to do that at another.
No, let's talk about it.
Now I'm going to get people really going. I may get lots and lots of threats now. Yeah. Look, another thing that happens is celebrities also become so desperate for work because it can be like a roller coaster ride. And again, they're told there's games that you need to play to be able to get the work. Number one, shut up. Do as you're told to do. Yeah, the system's corrupt. This is South Africa.
What you need to do it.
Yeah, this is South Africa. That's the way we work here. And shut up. And then there's also, should I use the word? Let's say groups of people.
Right.
That come together and they work together as a team. And they pull from darkness. Because they think, yeah, thank you. You said the word. And we want to pretend like it's a conspiracy theory. It's, in my opinion, it's not. If you open your eyes and you pay attention, you're going to see the signs. There's signs and symbols all around us. And I think they even laugh because they put it in our faces. And maybe that's why we don't think it's a big deal, because it's in our faces. They know what they're doing. and they come together. Look, there's a ring, I won't go into it, some of them wear. There's certain symbols that they do with their hands. There's handshakes. There's different things that they're a part of. And when you're a part of that, they tell you that you'll get fame, you're going to prosper and succeed. But the same exact thing that helps you do that is what will take you down. So they entice you with all of this glamour, money, fame, but then it will destroy you.
I'm glad that you shared it, because this might perhaps not help somebody that's already in it if they don't want to get out, but it might help someone that wants to get into this industry and they don't know that there's things like this, so that when they are approached, they can identify it and be able to say, no, I'm not going to be part of that. Because I still believe that you can make it in the industry purely by your talent and not being involved in things that will suck you in and lead to,
Yeah, you know what? I have, believe it or not, I have a talent agency. Okay, when I first started, Motodi was still here and the agency was doing really well. And then life went a little bit haywire, and it seemed as though I was also blacklisted, okay, with the agency, although I do get some work now. And the reason that I started the agency is because I want to show that people of God can work in the industry. We have many talented people. You don't have to be a part of other stuff that will take you down, that will take your family down, to have fame and prosperity. As a person of God, or you're just neutral, you can also make it. I believe
it's
that's
your talent at the end of the day. There's space for you.
Yes.
You don't have to be bullied by anyone to do things you don't want to do, just so you can have a role.
Yeah. And the thing is what I've found is if someone's in a position of power, they feel like they can get away with whatever in South Africa, and that makes me mad. Look, it does happen. They do get away with it, but it's time now that we speak.
Right. And how do you think that the department can look out for celebrities? How can they make sure that they are, in a good space?
Yeah. Number one, I know that it's not their expertise.
Right.
So maybe they need to seek out consultants or different people that are life coaches, psychologists, everything. Pull them in and let's sit down and come up with a program that's accessible to our celebrities. Number one, they need to sit and brainstorm with people that know how to deal with this kind of thing. I also want to appeal even to production houses to put some things in place. Like in our normal workplaces, they have wellness programs. Right. They have someone that you can go and talk to if you're having an issue or you lose someone, that kind of thing. We have to put support in place for our talented people. And so that's where they can start. They can call me. Call me. Yes, I ran programs in the States. I ran a program called the Mentor Network. I had over 100 clients. I know how to do all of this. Right. South Africa, I'm here from America. Take advantage of this knowledge. So yeah, they just need to at least start. Yeah. Get the people in, let's talk, come up with a plan, and let's implement
not, prioritize being on the program and someone has died and say someone from the Department of Arts and Culture will come and speak or the minister is available. Avail yourself now and help people while they're still alive.
Yeah. Let's just not show up at the funerals.
Exactly.
Let's
that
not
means
just...
nothing, by it means nothing.
I mean, they like to show up to the parties. They like to show up at the funerals and go, oh, well, I was at so-and-so's funeral. Let's show up for them now and help them and support them.
And I want to actually call out to whoever in the celebrity space that wants to speak and share their story, so that we can help as many people as possible. Just one person that's willing to come forth and say, yes, I know what Leslie is talking about, and I'm willing to talk. And let's not victimize people for speaking out, because we're creating these platforms so that we can avoid situations where people feel like they don't have anyone.
Yes,
Right.
yes. And that's what they do. Like they feel like they can't speak, because then they're going to be victimized
Yes.
in every way. People are going to say they're crazy, they're going to receive threats, that kind of thing. But you know what? If you speak, come to me. I'll help you. I have warriors beside me. I fought a war for 5 years while Motodi went through the depression and that kind of thing. So I'll be there to also support them.
Thank you so much, Leslie. And I know that you're still, in a fragile state, you and your girls. How are you dealing with
Everything.
your lovely husband's passing and everything that came with, losing him?
You know what? I'm doing okay. I realized though the other day, I've been so busy trying to deal with the estate and making sure the kids are okay and threats and being followed and stuff like that, that sometimes I don't think I've had a chance to really breathe and take it all in. So I think I need to do that. I need to also take care of my mental health, but we're doing okay. The kids, it's a little bit up and down, but I'm trying to be there. I call us the Three Musketeers or the Charlie's Angels. I'm like, it's us against the world. It's and God, us and God against the world, and we can do this. So we're doing okay. We're doing okay. And Motodi would want us. Yeah.
And you're a very strong woman as well. And I know how you welcomed, you were planning to welcome your husband back, and you were, had reconciled before his passing.
Yes.
Something that I want us to just touch on, because it's known that you had, tumultuous times in your relationship, in your marriage. But thank God that by the time he passed, you had made peace. And he was planning to come home. Yeah.
You know what? It's actually, the whole journey has been very surreal and sort of mind-blowing, because, like I say, it was a dream for like 10 years. Then these things happened. He went into a depression. Then it got really ugly. And then, thank God, we started spending time together and talking and all of that. So I thank God, because I think God knew that I needed that. There were conversations that we needed to have. But the very weird thing is that he passed on the day that he was supposed to move back in the house. The exact day. So he had already started moving some stuff back into the house. We had been keeping this a secret because we didn't want the media and everything, And the day he was supposed to move back in, he passed away. So I don't know. I'm like, okay, spiritually, maybe he did come back home. And they did, and they brought, yes. And they brought his body, and it spent the night in the home. So I was like, okay, maybe this is very, very significant. But for me, the main thing is that Motodi ended up with God. And I haven't said this to anyone. My apostle asked me on June 13th. He called me up and he told me to prophesy over the valley of the dry bones in my life. And I was very honored, because my prophet was asking me to prophesy. So I was like, oh, wow. But I prophesied Motodi's deliverance on June 13th. And as he was sick, I believe I watched his deliverance take place. So for me, it was about Motodi ending up with God.
That was the most important.
Yes. At the end of the day, that's what matters. Because then we'll always be together for eternity when I pass.
And it's very important not to neglect the spiritual side of things, because we are spirit before we are, this physical body.
Yes.
This is the house that contains your spirit. And so if even entertainers out there would know that, and maybe heed even to AK's call, come back home,
Yes.
Go back to God.
Guys, God is the way. God is the only way. I remember the first time I went to my church and things were rough. My apostle said to me, he said 3 words, and these words stay with me forever. It's stay with God. He knew that if I stepped outside of God in the midst of what I was going to go through, that I was going to be finished. So I know, I'm not going to get fame and fortune just like that. but God is faithful.
Right.
And He will not leave you. He will not forsake you. And I just want to appeal to everyone. Let's go back to our roots. Let's go back to God.
That's the riches you're looking for.
Yeah.